Is Scott McTominay going to Fulham, or has Napoli now entered the race for Scott McTominay? We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about João Félix's permanent move to Chelsea and what that means. Pellistri apparently going to Panathinaikos with a 50% sell-on clause attached by Manchester United. Apparently, Eriksen has been offered to Ajax and many other clubs. So we're going to talk about that today. Burnley Football Club, yes, are interested in Manchester United's Hannibal. That is official. No bid has gone in yet, but we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Sander Berge, guys. Sander Berge, who's a footballer that I wanted United to get because I believe United need a footballer in the mode of a Michael Carrick, someone who can distribute the ball from the back four, pick the ball up from the back four and pass the ball, someone who's a bit press resistant. And I thought Sander Berge was a decent fit for that profile. But guys, it seems as if he is on his way to Fulham, maybe because Scott McTominay is no longer going to Fulham. That could be a knock-off effect. We're going to talk about that as well. And finally, maybe not finally, Ugarte. What is happening with that player? Is he coming to Manchester United or not? Will it be a loan with an obligation to buy? Will it be a permanent deal? We'll discuss all the ins and outs and the murmurs regarding Ugarte. And officially, Man United are not in for Ivan Toney. So if you're like me and you really wanted Ivan Toney, we're not getting him. Apparently, United are not in for Ivan Toney. So there's a few little bits to get into, guys. We're going to, as usual, guys, smash the like, turn on the notifications. And if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. I've literally just got back home from work, hence why I'm in this attire. A lot has been popping off over the last, not just last week, but over the last month, especially with regards to Manchester United Football Club. Ineos are making moves, and they have made moves. They've made signings, and they've made shrewd signings and quick signings so far. However, the last week or so, things have slowed down. I believe we need to get more footballers out the door in order to raise fees if we do want to make more signings. And I think that's the situation where we are at the moment, guys. So let's start off with this Ugarte thing. Let's just quickly mention Ugarte. Like I've said, you guys, this Ugarte thing has been going on almost all transfer window. Everybody and their dog knows that Manchester United want Ugarte. PSV want a certain fee for Ugarte. It seems to me as if they want a fee to recoup all the fee that they originally paid for the player, which I think is kind of cheeky, given the fact that you don't want him anymore, given the fact he's hardly played last season, and you don't really sell a player on for the same fee or same price that you bought them for if you don't want them anymore. So that's quite a very interesting stance from PSG, and I think they're very fixed on that stance. Hence why we, Manchester United, haven't budged on our initial fee. We won't go higher than what we want to pay. So there seems to be, I know there's conversations about Sancho being part of some deal and all these things. I don't believe that at all. However, I do believe that Manchester United are now seeking some sort of loan deal with an obligation to buy, which means no money comes out of the club this year. No money comes out of the club for the player until they are ready to buy. I assume that loan with an obligation to buy will mean that we have to pay his salary. Of course, that's quite normal. But other than that, there will be obligation to buy, and there will be a fee on top of that if we like what we see over the year. So I've got no issues with Ugarte on loan. I'm not one of those Manchester United fans who desperately want Ugarte. Ugarte or nothing. Ugarte or bust. He's the best DM ever. I'm not that sort of United fan. I understand the profile of the player. I understand he might be the Fred replacement, the sort of Kante type player, the younger CASEMIRO, somebody who's got the legs to and the mobility to go up and down the pitch, win the tackles, win the balls, and just give a nice sideways pass or nice 10-yard pass. He's not going to do a Perlo. He's not going to do an amazing 100-yard pass or 40-yard pass or something like that. He's not that sort of player. He's very mobile, very tenacious. And I understand how that profile of a midfielder, especially now that we don't have Amrabat and we potentially might sell Scott McTominay, how that profile of a midfielder could be beneficial for Manchester United Football Club. So I hope we do get the Ugarte signing over the line, especially now that we know that we are not going to get Sander Berge. So let's now talk about Sander Berge. Sander Berge is apparently now heading to Fulham. He's having a Fulham medical, and by the time you probably watch this video, it's very likely that Sander Berge will be a Fulham signing. I hope not, but very likely. Now, when Sander Berge wasn't a player that was on everyone's lips. It wasn't a player that was on the forefront of my mind. But when I heard that United were linked with Sander Berge, I said, great. Fantastic. In an ideal world, I'd rather have Zubimendi, someone like that, someone in the Frankie de Jong sort of mode, someone who is press resistant, who can pick the ball up from the back four and who can play every single type of pass, from a short pass to a long pass to a floated pass to a drilled pass, any type of pass, a Michael Carrick type midfielder. And we haven't had that kind of midfielder since maybe Pogba, but even Pogba wasn't really like that. Pogba was an all-around midfielder. He wasn't someone who sat deep and just passed the ball around. We need somebody who can dictate the tempo and dictate. Eriksen played that role kind of for us in the first season, but we haven't really had that sort of player. CASEMIRO doesn't do that. He's never done that for Madrid, and he never will do that. Bruno Fernandes, the way that he spams the ball, the way that he's always looking for the glory ball, he can't control the tempo of the game. So we need that type of midfielder. I was crying out for that type of midfielder. So when I heard that we were linked to Sander Berge, I didn't screw my face up or turn my nose up at the signing just because he's playing for Burnley and in the Championship. Because as we know, many of the best players that we've seen have come from the Championship. We've seen Jamie Vardy, we've seen Dele Alli, we've seen Ivan Toney, we've seen many, many players come from the Championship and absolutely ball out. So the fact that he's now been relegated, that didn't mean anything to me, and I really wanted this signing. So I just hope that something happens. Fulham are only, bidding for the player because they haven't got Scott McTominay from us, and they're doing it just to speed up the Scott McTominay sell to Fulham, which I don't think is true, but I'm just wishful thinking. I do believe he's probably going to Fulham, but I just pray that we do get that signing, because out of Ugarte and Sander Berge, I would much prefer the Sander Berge type signing. I really would. But I don't mind Ugarte. I really don't. That brings me on to Scott McTominay. Now, Scott McTominay, of course, we were talking to Fulham about this player, and now it seems like he doesn't want to go to Fulham. It seems like he now wants to go to Napoli, which, in fairness to Scott McTominay, he's not the kind of footballer that I like. He isn't my type of footballer. But in fairness to him, if you're playing for Manchester United, you probably don't want to go down and play for Fulham. You can argue that might be his level, but in Scott McTominay's mind, he doesn't want to do that. So I believe Napoli are in the Champions League, which, of course, everybody wants to play in the Champions League. So it makes sense from Scott McTominay's perspective to play for Napoli. Now, for me, I don't care where Scott McTominay goes. I really don't. As long as United get a decent fee in for him, and we can use the fee to get in other players, he can go to Napoli, Napoleon, Naples, or probably all the same place. But you can go to anywhere in France, all the mountains. And it doesn't matter. You can go to any club. I don't care. Just get him out of the club. It's about time Scott McTominay leaves. He's 27 years old, I believe, right now. And he's reaching the prime. He's reaching the prime of his career. So if he wants to make more out of his career than he's currently made, he needs now to play regularly. And he's not going to get that at Manchester United. So that's Scott McTominay. Pellistri, apparently we've accepted a bid from Panathinaikos for Pellistri. I think Pelestri needs to leave. I think United have a lot of wingers. We have about 5 or 6 wingers now, and most squads only really need 4 or 5. And Zirkzee can also play wide, so can Hojlund. So I think Pelestri, he's probably not going to get a lot of games, so it makes sense for him to leave. And it also makes sense for United to attach a 50% sell-on clause, which is good business, which is something that we might not have done under the Glazers. So I'm also quite happy that under Ineos, it seems as if we're now making wiser investment decisions, wiser selling decisions, and not just doing things for the sake of doing things, buying players for the sake of buying players. We seem to be going after profiles now, which I'm all happy for. So that's Pelestri. Eriksen offered to Ajax. Listen, if I was Eriksen, I know that with the intensity and the way the manager wants to play, the way that Ten Hag wants to play on the front foot with the intense pressing, Eriksen can't do that. We saw at the end of the first season, he played well at the beginning, him and CASEMIRO. But towards the end of the first season, when we got to about April, March, May, Eriksen was done. He was done, his legs were gone. And that's when CASEMIRO started to be left on his own in midfield. That's when our goals dried up. And not just because of Eriksen, but that was the start of it. So I think with the pace of the league, I think Eriksen, if he's not playing in the number 10 role, where he doesn't need to run back as much, he's not the best. He's not the best. The game basically gets past him. It gets past him. So I think it's time for Eriksen to leave. If United can get even a 5 million for Eriksen, I wouldn't mind, because at the end of the day, we got Eriksen for free. So any money made on Eriksen is money made, because we didn't pay for him. So whether Ajax come in for him or wherever he goes, I think it's best for Eriksen to go. I don't believe, if we do get Ugarte, and if United maybe get someone like, what's that French player? My mind's gone blank. Who was playing alongside Kante, that we're in for on loan. But you know who I'm talking about. If we get another midfielder in, Eriksen's time on the pitch will be very limited. So I think Eriksen needs to go. Burnley are apparently interested in Hannibal. And I say to Burnley, please take this kid from us. I'm tired of seeing Hannibal play. I'm tired of Ten Hag playing players like Hannibal because they can run. I'm tired of Ten Hag's mentality towards football, which is play all the physical and people who can run around, and let's not play the technical football players. Let's leave the Amad Diallos on the bench and play the Forsons or the Garnachos. No. So the more of these players we can stop the manager from picking, the better. So Hannibal, he's not good enough. Not every single youth product that comes out of the United Academy is good enough. 99% of them will not be good enough. And only the very best should make it. And right now, I believe that because we've been starving, we are willing to take every single youth product that comes out of the academy as a star boy. Listen, only Mino has been a star boy over the last 5 years, and Mason Greenwood over the last 10 years. That's it. Rashford wasn't even a star boy. And I still would argue with anybody who says Rashford was great in the academy, or great now, because I don't think he's that great. There's not been many players who've come out of the academy over the last 10 years and cemented themselves as a first teamer. And we need to maintain this high bar, because the bar has been demigrated and downgraded so much over the last 10 years. We now see every single youth product as potential to make it. Sometimes you just got to say what we see, like on this channel, and not how we feel, and say Hannibal just needs to go. Thank you for the 1 or 2 games you played. Thank you for your service. Goodbye. Simple as that. No Ivan Toney. As I said before, apparently United are no longer in for Ivan Toney. I didn't really believe we would get Ivan Toney anyway. The way that United are moving in the transfer windows, the way that we're not quick to splash out huge fees, even though Lenny Euro was a huge fee, but apparently we are paying that over installments over 4 or 5 years. So the way that we're not really paying large fees, and I think Toney would actually demand a large fee, and we have Zirkzee. So As much as I want Ivan Toney, of course I do. He's better than all the strikers that we have. He's better than Hojlund, much better than Hojlund, and he's probably better than Zirkzee. Probably. We haven't seen a lot of Zirkzee. And what I saw of Zirkzee in the 20 minutes that he played, I was impressed. I was. And I think he will be a good signing for us. But Ivan Toney is ready. He's ready to start for a top team right now. And I think he will play well with Marcus Rashford. I really do. So no Ivan Toney. João Félix is apparently going to Chelsea. Now, this one's a bit weird because I don't understand where he will fit in or why Chelsea need him. It seems to me that the Gallagher thing, this is either to force a Gallagher thing through, or maybe the Gallagher thing has fallen through and therefore they want to go for João Félix, or I don't really understand the João Félix thing. And João Félix has been moving around. He's been signed to Atletico Madrid. A bit like Sancho in a while. A bit like Sancho, yeah. A bit like Sancho in the sense that he's signed to a club, but the club he's been signed to for the last 5-6 years, Atletico Madrid, have offloaded him on loan to a few other clubs. And why? Chelsea fans, let me know. What's the long-term plan? Why João Félix? It seems as if, once again, nobody is thinking long-term when it comes to Chelsea or thinking about profiles. It seems as if João Félix is free. We need to get a player. Let's get João Félix. And that's it. So what's the thinking behind João Félix? He's a number 10, like Cole Palmer is. Right now, Cole Palmer is playing on the right. Chelsea have got like 100 wingers from Koundé. Is it Koundé? Or was it Kudus? To Raheem Sterling. They've got so many wingers. Mudryk, Jackson, who's technically, you can argue, is a winger. Chelsea are stacked when it comes to wingers. So where's João Félix going to play? Let me know, guys, where you think he's going to play. Is he going to play behind a striker, João Félix, i.e. in the position that Enzo played the other day, which means is Enzo going to be on the bench and are Chelsea going to play with Caicedo and Lavia, and then João Félix with, I don't know, what's going to happen? Or is João Félix going to play a false 9? I think João Félix could play a false 9 for Chelsea. I think that could be another possibility. So I think Chelsea, if they do get João Félix, I'm not going to lie, guys, as a Man United fan, I'm looking at Chelsea differently because their performance against Manchester City on the weekend, even though they lost 2-0, it was a good performance. They're going in the right direction. And if they shore up their defence, if they get someone like João Félix over the line, if they learn to play football in a way that is fluid, with Palmer, João Félix and all these other ballers, listen, Chelsea could be very, 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 very dangerous this season. And the top 4 race is what we want, man. We want to see good football. At the end of the day, this is a Man United fan. I'm a Man United fan. This is a Man United / football channel, and on this channel we like to talk facts, we like to analyze things deeply, we like to, the phrase is, we say what we see, not how we feel. We try to remove bias from this channel as much as we can. We all have bias, we all like what we like, but we try to remove it and look at things as objective as possible. It's not always possible, but we try. Anyway, guys, that's the lowdown I have for you today. A lot is happening. A lot is going to happen before now and the transfer window closes. A lot. So that's only a snapshot. Listen, by tomorrow, everything could have changed already by tomorrow. We just don't know. Anyway, guys, as usual, subscribe below if you like the content, if you want more content like this. Of course, I will be live with you guys for the next watch-along, which will be on Saturday against Brighton, I believe. There'll be more content, more videos. Check out the rest of the videos on this channel. The channel is growing. It will continue to grow with your help, guys. So please share the video, subscribe below, like, all of these things. Comment below. Let me know what you think is going to happen with all of these transfers. Where's João Félix going to play? What's happening with Scott McTominay? Let me know what's going on. What you guys thinking? Comment below, and I will see you guys next time.